Everybody, what is going on? Christian here from the DeFi Afterparty, and I'm super excited. I'm super pumped because I got AJ on the line from EMP Fusion and all the other protocols he is a master at. And today we are introducing his new protocol called Plazm. AJ, how are you doing, brother?
Hey, Christian, glad to be here, brother. Always a pleasure. And yeah, man, I'm excited. We this is the first official video on the new protocol Plasm. So we'll talk about how it came to be, how it benefits Fusion, and everything that we're already building, and some juicy ROIs involved for sure.
Awesome. I've been seeing you talk about this and hinting towards it on your weekly AMAs that you do for Fusion. And I did a little research myself into some similar protocols. And I believe what you're going to be bringing out soon, launching soon, is going to make some waves in the industry. So tell us, AJ, how did we get here? How did Plasm come to be?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. So this is an idea that we've had for a long time. Obviously, I've been in the game a long time now, going on 10 years, and we've seen many protocols come and go, but a lot of them that have had the most hype and cult-like following are around what we call daily creation platforms. So this is essentially what Hex was. A lot of you know Hex, Titan X. Another one was Wise. For those that have been around a long time, remember Wise. And what it is it's a way to create a protocol that has a daily creation or auction that is a way to mint the supply of the token. And it's really cool because it's a way to gamify the creation of the initial supply of a token, and do it in a way that is utilizing what we call a buy and burn. And a buy and burn is essentially a treasury that will always buy and burn the underlying assets. And why that is so powerful is that it creates buying pressure on the token without necessarily having new people buying the token because the treasury steps in. However, a lot of these protocols have been very unsustainable because once the buy and burn depletes or is used up, then there is no more buying pressure on the token. And so when we develop bonds, our treasury bonds, I had this aha moment of utilizing a daily creation platform like this and combining real yield that essentially has a buy and burn that never depletes. And this concept is really, really cool. And nobody else was willing to build it, so we built it ourselves, bro. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, man. So one of the things that I believe that should be probably really put out in the front, in other words, people understand wholeheartedly, is that is something you just said about integrating your bond product from you and DexFi
For sure.
it with real yield, which basically means real money, right? Not tokens or money being printed out of thin air, but real yield, real money in combination with this. Because what you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the buy and burn mechanism is being fueled by the bonds. Is that correct?
That is correct, brother. So absolutely. And so typically with a buy and burn or a daily creation protocol, you can mint with either the share token, which in our case is eShare, which again, to back up a little bit as well, not only is this a standalone protocol that will have, the ability to earn and yield all on its own, but everything that we do, Christian, it all goes back to the EMP mothership. So utilizing eShare also gives a use case for eShare now, and you can either create new Plasm tokens utilizing eShare or just straight Ethereum. And so if you create with eShare, that is a buy and burn on eShare. if you create with ETH, then that is what fuels the bonds. And so, yeah, every ETH creation will go directly into bonds. That will also create a very healthy treasury for Plazm, very similar to like, a MicroStrategy or some of these other blue chip strategy companies, where Plazm is also then collateralized by the bond value. So if we get, $1 million in ETH deposits, now there's not only are we earning, upwards of 100% APR on bonds for the buy and burn to work indefinitely, but now there's $1 million of assets that are collateralizing Plazm itself. And so that is another really cool thing because over time, again, years, this isn't just an overnight protocol. When we see ETH get to, 5, 10, 20, 30 grand per ETH, now Plazm is is collateralized by that treasury value in bonds as well. So that could be really cool because when, 5 years from now, when the majority of the Plazm is out in circulating supply, then now, you could basically liquidate the treasury and back all those tokens with real value moving forward. So to your point where you said earlier, we're not just creating value out of thin air. This is all backed by either the yield for bonds or the actual assets themselves.
So for to put it in a short manner, in a short form,
For sure.
there's real money here.
Yeah, totally.
There's real money when you go to get out. And I believe, that's what a lot of crypto users don't understand, AJ, because, when I got into crypto first, I didn't, a lot of us didn't know what exactly is going on. We're all here for basically one reason, to get rich, right? We
For
were like,
sure.
what about this crypto thing? It seemed pretty cool. And, maybe we all got into BTC first, or maybe it was ETH, or maybe it was a meme coin or whatever. And with these intentions and these hopes of, we're going to put some money in and we're going to get a hell of a lot of money out. But as some of us went down these rabbit holes, we didn't understand that some of these protocols or meme coins and things like that, they were not being, transparent. They were not being truthful, and a lot of us, myself included, got taken advantage of. And some of us, including myself, even lost a lot of money. So what
For
I
sure.
really believe the message here is that there is real money here being created by what you were talking about, by collateralization of using the bonds and such, plus using the yield and things of that nature from the bonds and all the other mechanisms you already described.
Yeah, absolutely, Christian. And again, just to, I get in the weeds a little bit. You're so great at simplifying it, but just to put some numbers to that. So, say that we're able to get $1 million of ETH deposits within the first 77 days. So the maximum length on day one for one creation is 77 days. I think that's very reasonable. Almost every other protocol similar to this without nearly the sustainability, has done at least $1 million within the first cycle. And so, if we did that, or I'd say when we do that, not if, that is essentially about $5,000 a day in buying pressure from the buy and burn. So that alone, to put that in perspective, like I said, that means that people can sell $5,000 a day of the token, and the price would still not go down. So, anybody that is looking to get into a protocol to earn, they have to rely on new users to buy the token from them at a higher price. In Plasm, the buy and burn and the bonds do all the heavy lifting for you, and so you're not reliant on new users coming into the protocol, and it's really a way to get people exposed to the bonds and have the flexibility of a token. So, you could just go right into bonds on your own. But if you did that, then, you still get hit with some fees on redeeming. You may not be as liquid. You may not be able to swing trade bonds. But with Plasm, you absolutely can do that because it's a tokenized version. And, even better in some regards in relation to, the economics and, allowing that buy and burn to build up and get even more momentum. I mean, one of the other protocols we draw inspiration from was Titan X, and Titan X has, even to this day, about $20 million in their buy and burn. And if we had that in bonds rather than just sitting there waiting to be deployed, that would be about 100 grand a day in buying pressure on the token. So
Because the bonds, so there's going to be some people, AJ, that are watching this video. They don't know what the bonds are. They don't know what
for
DexFi
sure.
is, blah, blah, blah. But essentially, the short story is that there's being money put into a brother or sister protocol to Plasm that are what's, for the lack of a better term, called the DexFi bonds, which are basically uh, using or utilizing um, is it V3 concentrated liquidity, right, AJ?
Exactly. Yes, brother. So, yep. So, yep. Just a high level overview. Bonds are, yes, this is the protocol that essentially is the easy button for CLP or concentrated liquidity providing. So we take the ETH that we get in, we provide liquidity on many different blue chips and mid cap alts, and we earn a yield on that. So yeah, not only are you still having exposure to the underlying assets, but our APR has been averaging about 100% from the get-go. So yeah, that is the yield mechanism for sure.
And so the bonds then, so like what AJ said was Titan X, I believe, is the one he talked about, where they have how much do they have in their buy burn? 20 million? Is that what he said?
Yeah, 20 million as of today. Yep.
So imagine this, and the 20 million just sitting there, it's not doing anything, as far as I know, as far as AJ knows. But if we had 20 million going into bonds, basically getting yield or getting put to, let's put it this way, getting put to work, $20 million getting put to work, that is essentially providing the real yield to do the buy and burn here, which basically is going to either stabilize or increase the price of the Plasm token. Is that right, AJ?
Yeah, brother, I couldn't have said it better myself. So yeah, 100%. And again, because Plasm is a fixed supply, so although you're minting tokens, so to speak, there is a cap supply, meaning it's non-inflationary. And so because of the buy and burn, and that's another thing, people think that just burning tokens creates value, and that's really not the case. You have to have both. You have to have a buy and a burn. So we are actually buying Plasm off the market and burning it. And so even with buying and selling outside of that, it automatically pushes up the floor price of the token over time. And so there would be a situation where literally everybody could be in profit in the token as long as they're willing to hold it long enough for the buy and burn to take over.
Now I'm gonna do something called an alpha ask.
I love it. Let's go.
When do
Yes.
you think that might be? Not financial advice. We're not doing any of that kind of stuff. But when might that be, in your opinion, AJ?
Yeah, bro. So, I mean, we are on 77-day cycles. So you can mint Plasm upwards of 77 days. The longer you choose to mint, the higher share rate you get, which means you get more of the supply. And so, in my opinion, I think if we can get $1 million in the buy and burn within that first 77-day cycle, and then have subsequent cycles after that, I think that literally everybody that would do a maximum stake or create for those 77 days would be in profit by the end of the first cycle. So again, it's hard to say because it's never been done before, but if we can get $1-2 million in the buy and burn within the first 1 or 2 cycles, then the rest just takes care of itself.
Wow, this is really interesting because as you're saying this, AJ, the wheels are turning in my head, and I'm like, okay, like we got to think about this. When I say we, everybody watching this video that is going to get into Plazm, we all gotta work together, just like all the other protocols AJ's created.
For sure.
And for me, it's all about this gamification thing. And what's really interesting and cool about what you and everybody that's involved with EMP and DexFi and some of the other people that are kind of helping you along the way, AJ, is that you've gamified like a community rally. You have Fusion Watch that has these contests and Honor versus Madness contests and others kind of contests. I can see now that we were probably going to have a contest related to Plazm so that we actually make this $1 or $2 million in these first 2 cycles.
Yes, absolutely, brother. Again, everything that we do, again, like you said, has other fringe benefits and a community rallying aspect. And the cool thing is like even without that, the incentives are built into the protocol, and so that again, we sometimes get some hate that we're serial launching protocols, but everything that I do is in the hopes of true sustainability. And again, having a daily creation protocol with real yield that is not reliant on new users. Obviously, it helps, and the more new users and the more deposits we get, the quicker we get to our goal. But that alone is so cool, and it's so different than what we are used to with crypto these days. I mean, all of us can't wait to G and sell, as soon as we're in profit, our meme token. But these sort of protocols and the real backing, it's like a real business where there's always real revenue coming in. And theoretically, again, we can't promise the future, but those that do participate with the long term in mind, they are potentially the ones that are going to win the most because they have a larger support of the Plazm supply. And when the buy and burn really starts to scale, they could be getting a ton of momentum with that buy and burn pushing the price of Plazm up indefinitely. So
Yeah, man, totally. And again, the buy and burn is fueled by the bonds. So
for sure.
as AJ said before, let's get to that $1 or $2 million, working for us so that, we all can get to a fat payday.
Yeah, 100%.
So I got some questions here. I got some written down, but what problems do or does, because there could be more than one problem, does Plasm solve in your opinion, AJ?
Yeah, for sure. So again, we are always building, and that is the other part about Fusion, our mothership, is you get exposure to everything that we build moving forward. So that is going to then create higher APR in Fusion itself. But even if you don't care about Fusion or you don't care about EMP, Plasm is a standalone product that amplifies everything else. So the major thing that it solves for us is number one, it helps create a demand for eShare, and that will we've already seen eShare going up in value because again, you can either mint or create using eShare or ETH, and there is no particular advantage or disadvantage to either of those. It's simply whatever tokens you have. If you're already involved in Fusion and the EMP ecosystem, chances are you have eShare. that you can use. But if you're brand new, ETH is great too. And again, if we want to have the bonds be fed, then it's always better to mint using ETH. So that really was another reason that we created Plazm, was to help the price of eShare and really make eShare even more deflationary. So eShare Plazm will be the main LP. And so when the bonds start producing yield, and we talk about this buy and burn, the buy and burn will actually buy and burn eShare Plazm LP. So we're actually buying and burning both Plazm and eShare along the way. So that really helps reduce the supply of eShare even further, really putting a supply shock on eShare. I mean, as it is, eShare is already very scarce and deflationary, and so that will help again create higher APR and higher dollar value of eShare itself. And then the other thing that we again solved is a daily creation platform like this that doesn't really, it's not held hostage to the buy and burn. So all these other protocols, the buy and burn eventually goes to zero because there is no real yield. And if the buy and burn goes to zero, the platform dies. And so with bonds, that is never the case, where we're not depleting the buy and burn to zero. We're simply utilizing the yield. So those are the big things that we fixed.
Interesting. So, question. You mentioned we can go into this protocol with eShare or ETH on base. And my question is I guess let me ask you this first. What's the price that Plasm is going to start out at?
Yeah, so there is a fairly extensive formula in our docs, and those that want to go do a deep dive into our white paper before we launch are more than welcome to do it. But it's essentially a fraction of the eShare price. So that is what determines the initial ratio. And when people start minting or creating in the protocol, that is when the LP is then set. So again, I don't. There's so many variables that's hard to say. But Plasm should end up being right around probably I think 10 cents on creation. So and that could easily go to $1, $2, $3 with the buy and burn in the short term. But then again, the other cool thing about the protocol is it's very self-explanatory. So when the price of the token is high, relative to the beginning, you're much better off to create. And yeah, you'll see there a 5,000,000% ROI. Again, this will update in real time, but it's really that easy, where you just will want to look at what is a better ROI, is either creating or staking. And again, as the price goes down with Plasm, it is more profitable to stake rather than create. So that's a bit of alpha for everybody. I would just follow whatever the ROI estimates are, and that usually tells you the best thing to do to either create or stake.
Gotcha. So one of the reasons I was asking about the Plasm price is because, there's going to be some people that have eShare like myself, right?
For
And,
sure.
I didn't buy a lot of my eShare at $6 like like a lot of people did, when the price was that low. Now it's hovering around 37, 38, $39 at the moment. But in your opinion, and again, no financial advice is being given here, but this is, we're just kind of talking strategy here. You know,
For sure.
would it be better to hold on to eShare and not deposit it or whatever it might be called, submit it here, or would it be better just to come in with with ETH?
Yeah, so again, I mean, that's the cool part about what we were talking about earlier, the gamification. There really isn't a right answer. It's all up to you. I would say if you're bullish on, our ecosystem and the supply shock of eShare and, everything that we continue to build in terms of use case for eShare and EMP, then yeah, maybe you don't want to spend your eShare creating. You would maybe rather, use ETH or whatever else. But the other cool thing is all of these protocols go in what we call cycles. So you could potentially, use your eShare, profit from the Plazm that you create in the protocol, and then use that to buy back your eShare at a later date. It's just you run the risk of buying eShare at a higher price than what it is today. And with the buy and burn, again, because the LP is eShare Plazm LP, we're always buying and burning both eShare and Plazm. So that alone will push the floor price up on both of those. So yeah, again, there is no right or wrong answer, but there's many ways to play how you want to do it for sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I'm asking because I have eShare, and I'm like, should I be using eShare to go in, or should I be using, ETH to go in? And from a protocol standpoint, the ETH is going to build the bonds as we just discussed.
For sure.
Um, but there are going to be people that have a ton of eShare that they might want to use instead of using, fresh capital and ETH or something like that. So very interesting.
Yep, absolutely. And the eShare that you do use to create, that is obviously we can't, put that into bonds. So the protocol never sells eShare in that way to go into ETH. What it does is it creates basically an instant buy and burn. So another just like the typical buy and burn that where it's an asset that's used and dripped out immediately, that is how we handle eShare. So, although we're not burning all the eShare that is submitted, it does remove it out of circulation until the buy and burn kicks in. So that alone, I think, will have a supply shock even before bonds start to really amplify the actual yield. So there's a lot of cool mechanisms that help in the short term, the medium term, and the long term that no other protocol has done, like we will. So
Wow, super crazy. It's going to be exciting to see what happens when this gets launched, AJ, because there's been a people, that have been followers, fans, and even haters of EMP and the related protocols and the related tokens.
for
And when
sure.
they see eShares shoot up, they're going to be like, "Damn, I shouldn't have sold back at $6."
Yeah, no doubt, Christian. And the other cool thing is because eShare is essentially the transactional token of our ecosystem, it's okay to take profit. With EMP, we always preach that that represents a share of your ownership within the protocol. So selling that is a negative effect. But eShare is meant to be bought and sold. So, I love the idea of people trying to, min max their profits on eShare and then use that to go into Plazm. And then now, you're taking profit that you made to then actually help your own bags by fueling the buy and burn with bonds. So yeah, it's really cool because it's a closed loop system, but you can profit in like 10 different ways. So
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. So let's talk about we talked about a lot of the who, what, where, when, why. Let's just look at the dApp right now,
for
and
sure.
let's go over that because there's going to be some people who are like, well, what does this mean? What does this mean? So I'll let you take the lead here. If we're gonna create, what's going on here?
Absolutely. So the very first thing you want to do is probably going to create. So if you click the create tab at the top. Again, those are the two things you got to do. You can either create or you can stake. Now, creation is, again, utilizing either eShare or ETH. So right now we're on eShare. If you scroll down a little bit more, you can select ETH. It's, yep, right there. So right now we're on eShare. If you have eShare, you can create with that. If you want to do with ETH, you do with that. And so whether you're creating with ETH or eShare, the estimated ROI and your share rate are the same. So again, there is no advantage or disadvantage of ETH or eShare. It's just whatever you have and whatever you want to do. Now, I always suggest doing the maximum length. So earned length is 77 days. That is the maximum. And again, tomorrow or the next day, you can go another 77 days. So we call those are or what's called ladder creations, where every day you're doing a new creation at the maximum length, so that you always have the supply coming out after that 77 days. So all this will be dynamic. And again, once the app is actually live, all the estimated ROI will be, what you can potentially hope to earn. Now, obviously, 200% or 200,000% APR is, maybe a bit ambitious, or 12 million. So this will come down over time. So just be aware that it's all variable. But the goal of all this is you want to try to create the most Plazm shares as you can. So if you go right down there, yeah, Christian, there you go. So right now you'll see, um, one eShare stake or creation rather. Also five, yeah, five, perfect. So a 5 eShare deposit is roughly $200. That will create you 24 Plazm and get you a share rate of 150,000 shares. So when you do your creations, the goal is to play with the numbers so that you get the biggest shares possible. Because the more shares, Plazm shares you have, the more of the Plazm supply that you're able to mint. So, and that pool, it comes both from creations and stakes. So that's really cool because typically in other protocols like this, you have to be on day one to really make the most shares. But with the updated economics that we're using, everything comes from the same pool. So if you stake later on and the price goes down, you may actually get more shares than being on day one. So it makes it way more sustainable.
Gotcha. So I did a little research before hopping on this call with AJ just to get clued in on what's going on because when there's something new launching, some people don't know what's going on. And so I did some research because essentially this Plazm is inspired by another protocol or other protocols plural. And so let me just break some stuff down, and then AJ, if I'm totally wrong or there's some misinformation, go ahead and stop me. But essentially, what we're doing here is we're basically, when it says create, is we're basically depositing money, whether that's eShare or ETH. We're depositing these tokens, and when that happens, let's say for example we deposit ETH, okay, and let's say, let me switch to the ETH tab real quick, so maybe that'll explain a little better. And let's say I put in 1 ETH. Okay, and then right here, AJ says that's going to create 561 Plazm, and we're going to get this many shares, 3.3 million. Okay, so when we do this, and AJ, correct me if I'm wrong, we're not getting the Plazm that's created right away. It's being locked up essentially for 77 days. And during that time, we're also, because we have these shares now, we're also, it's a share in the pool. We're also basically getting more Plazm tokens out of that at the end of the 77 days. Is that correct?
Yeah, bro, that's a great way of putting it. So, yes, to answer the first part of that, yes, you are, when you mint your Plasm, you're not able to actually claim the tokens until the end of the stake or creation. So, and again, we'll talk about staking next, but that is the only mechanism. And it's staking, you have to actually buy Plasm off the market and stake it, just like you would with any other staking protocol. But to your point, all the shares are calculated on one singular pool. So, having a $3 million or a 3 million share, it's for lack of a better word, of the supply, that is then giving you a larger ownership of the supply that comes out down the road. So yeah, 100%. And their goal is that because you're foregoing that 77 day, you're getting a larger share. And that goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that the buy and burn then has a lot more time to push the price up. So by the time you get your tokens, you can actually sell your tokens for a profit because the buy and burn has held the price.
Gotcha. So now I want to make something else clear here because people are going to watch this video and they're going to want some information. Like, what does this mean? Just like I would.
For sure.
So created Plasm. This is what's created right when we deposit ETH, for example. And the estimated is basically what this estimated ROI number is. Essentially, because for everybody watching, and correct me if I'm wrong here, AJ, what we're creating right away, and that's being staked right away, is this 561.75 Plasm. And what is being given to us, I guess might be the right word to say, or the right term to say, um, throughout the 77 days, if that's how long we're staking for, is, and I know this is just an estimated number and it's probably blown up, AJ, but it's 7.03 million, right? So basically at the end of 77 days, again, this is all, made up stuff for right now because we're not live. But at the end of the 77 days, AJ, I would have 7.03 million Plasm. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that is again assuming that all of this is static. Now, as soon as the dApp goes live, those numbers are going to come down dramatically. So yeah, again, it's a little hard to do in the video ahead of time. But when the app is live and all of you are doing this, you will see the projected value that you're getting. And again, I mean, even in a worst case scenario, the buy and burn is what determines the future value of the earned Plasm. So, even if you were, say, not profitable by the end of those 77 days, as long as you're willing to continue to hold and have the buy and burn, again, remember, the buy and burn's perpetual. So this is the big difference. There is eventually a time where the price is just continually pushed up until you are in profit on what you minted. So yeah, and again, we say mint and stake. That's also a little confusing because the other part of it is staking your Plasm, and so that is another kind of next level strategy. Is you can do a creation for 77 days, get your Plasm, and then stake your minted Plasm after that, which again will get you even more Plasm from the supply. So there's a bunch of different strategies that we'll be going over, as this all matures.
So to recap, when this launches, basically everybody's creating, and
Correct.
no one will be. Well, I guess you could buy it off the market somewhere, but essentially, most people will not be staking until sometime after that first 77 days or after that first cycle, right, AJ?
Yeah, so and again, that's where the game theory comes in. So, some of you, there may be people, again, you guys are getting the first look, and so, we're wanting people to go for the full 77 days because that helps the protocol get to a good start. But some of you may want to mint for 10 days. And, then the supply, that's how the supply comes out sooner. However, that is a lot more risky because if people sell within those 10 days, then you may not be in profit. So the whole idea is that the longer you stake or the longer your creation, the better odds that you are in profit overall. But you know how people are, Christian. We're all degens at heart. So there will be people that do, short-term stakes or short-term creates hoping to flip. And some may win and some may lose, but that's just part of how the protocol operates. So
That's all part of the game, and that's what we're doing,
exactly.
guys and gals. We're playing a game. Me and AJ have done
Yeah, totally.
several AMAs or interviews or videos before, and we always reference like leveling up or what's the armor that I need or what's the sword that I need to win at this game.
For
And
sure, bro.
and
We're training right now. This is it, man. For sure. Yeah,
yeah, and this is just really fascinating to me because Um, like you said, this is something that hasn't, I mean, it's the inspiration, this protocol Plasm has been inspired by other ones, but what hasn't been done before or yet until now is basically the collateralization and being backed up by the bonds to basically fuel the stability and also the price of Plasm and eShare as well.
yeah, 100%, brother. And yeah, I mean, I'm a big proponent of giving credit where credit is due. I mentioned a few other ones, but we are a direct fork of protocol called Torus and Unity. Shout out to cryptographics and the same devs that built those protocols helped us build this. But those economics are incredibly powerful on their own. And so that's why I'm so excited is we're again, to use your words, Christian, we're leveling up, man, because we're building on top of already super sustainable economics with Torus and Unity, and now we're adding a buy and burn that never depletes. And so, again, if I wasn't really as confident as I am in this, I wouldn't have, gone all out and built it ourselves. But I am so confident in the overall, mathematics behind this that I really think, as long as we can get a substantial amount in the buy and burn or in bonds to utilize the buy and burn, it will only scale moving forward. And that's what I was saying in the beginning of the show about the Dragon X and Titan X buy and burn. I mean, $20 million in bonds would, like I said, be about 100 grand a day in the buy and burn. And just imagine, what that would put the price at Plasm at over time. So
Yeah, man. And by the way, I don't think anybody knows, but AJ stands for Albert Einstein because that's how smart he is.
yes, bro. Oh, I love it. Yes, Albert Johnson. Perfect. Yeah,
But yeah, we've talked at lengths before AJ and I just about how did he come up with all these all these economics or math equations so to speak about these protocols and he's like I went to school and got an art degree but it was all really about kind of circling back to EMP and your early days of that AJ is just
for sure.
experience in the game. And, if anybody's watching this and you're wondering, like, just really the wisdom that has been created or has developed for AJ, think about how many protocols he's done and has continued to build on and make better and here we are now. So if that gives you any kind of intel or any kind of feeling about again, as AJ said himself, his confidence, I believe that this is going to be one of the heavy hitters for you, AJ. And I, this is going to lead into something else that we're going to talk about in a second. But first movers advantage, I believe, is going to be the key to being involved with Plasm.
Yeah, absolutely, Christian. That means a lot, bro. And you're right, man. I mean, I like to think I'm at least a little bit knowledgeable on economics, but I don't have a physics degree by any means. And you're right, it's about being in the game, putting in the 10,000 hours, learning from other protocols what has worked and what hasn't worked, and building on that is what makes us successful. And yeah, I mean, again, with the bull run finally here, I think you're right. Timing is probably good going into the end of the year. And once we hit critical mass, again, that first $1 million into bonds, where now we're doing about 4 to 5 grand a day in buy and burn, without ever going down, the snowball will really kick in from there. And yeah, I mean, we have everything in place to make this successful, and continue to push forward. And another cool thing that we've never done in any of our protocols, just because I haven't really been a big fan of depleting the economic energy, and that is a referral system. So we do have a simple 2% referral fee for all ETH creations. So I'll make sure that we get the group to Afterparty. You guys will have your own affiliate link, and we'll put that in the video for sure. But that will also help us scale, and you get 2% of all ETH deposits that you refer, and that's cool because we're not depleting the buy and burn because of the yield. That can we can pay an affiliate without it depleting the system. So I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. Mainly that, and I'm talking about the referral system, and it's because if anybody watching the video knows of Alex Hormozy, you know, the last launch that he did, I forget how much money he did in one day, but it was, I think it was a world record breaking type of thing. But one of the ways he did it, aside from putting out content and value, for the last 2, 3 years now, is that he had affiliates essentially promoting this launch that he did, right? And this, as you said, there's been a bad there has been a bad rap in the crypto industry, with like affiliate links or referral links, because essentially, and I don't know for a fact, AJ, because I'm not on the developer side, but it always seems like that referral money was kind of basically being paid out of, if you want to call it thin air, or tokens being, just printed out of thin air, or using new users' money or capital to pay out these referral commissions, right?
For
So
sure.
so there's always just been this kind of like bad stigma, but for you to bring this into one of your protocols and you be confident about it, I think that says a lot about you incorporating this.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. You hit that nail on the head. So typically with affiliate commissions, the money has to come from somewhere. So it's either minted and inflated to pay for it, or it's coming from the rewards that other users would get. And so both of which are bad. In our situation, again, it's a modest 2%, and that comes from the yield. So again, we're actually bringing in new income through the bonds that covers it. So nobody is losing out on 2%. It's not minted out of thin air, and it's actual ETH for the big marketers. They don't want a token that they have to sell, or may or may not have value. This is us, giving actual Ethereum for people coming into the protocol. So yeah, that's another really cool thing. And people have been asking for a referral system on bonds to begin with. So this is a way to kind of bridge the gap a little bit without having to actually do a referral system on our own bonds. So
Interesting, very interesting. I'm really big into, number one, affiliate marketing, and number two, referrals. My personal offline business, we pay a lot of money for referrals because essentially they're a home run for us.
for
Like,
sure.
and I'm not talking about small money, AJ. Like some of these projects that we get in my remodel business, they could be anywhere from 50, 100 plus grand. So I have no problem paying, a referral fee to someone that refers us. That being said, my question about the referral thing, because I know there's going to be a lot of people really hyped about this, is is it 2% one time, or is it, and when I say one time, meaning like, is it just on that initial deposit someone does, or is it, every time that person deposits, which kind of leads into another question, which you might not have the answer to, I'm not really sure, but how is that then tracked if you do get another 2% on another deposit?
Absolutely, bro. So yeah, so the affiliate structure is 2% off the top of all ETH deposits. So as soon as the dApp goes live, there will be a little another little tab over there on the left that will allow you to set up your referral link. Usually it's just your wallet address for whatever EVM wallet you're connected to. You can then share that, and it is sticky. So what that means is whenever somebody goes to mint more Plazm, as long as they're utilizing ETH, again, you don't get a commission on the eShare side because we don't want to create, additional sell pressure on eShare. But as long as they're minting in ETH, which again is another bonus because that feeds the bonds, so we're wanting to incentivize ETH creations. Then yeah, you get it every single time, whether it's $10 or $1 million, you get 2% of all those, and there will be a little area that you can check all your referrals to. So, and it'll go right to your wallet. So I'm pretty sure you don't have to claim, but even if you did, you would just come to the website and claim. So.
That is so crazy, man, because this
Yeah.
is going to inspire people to make some freaking videos. You know what I'm
Totally, bro.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't argue with that. And again, I mean, we haven't really seen the heyday. You've been around the game just like I have, maybe not as long, but there's usually always one killer dApp in every cycle that is all the rage. And I feel like we are positioned really well with Plasm to be that dApp and do it in a way that really is sustainable because usually those really hyped dApps on every cycle end up being Ponzi's, and we're the exact opposite of that. So I'm excited to get people, into a new protocol with the excitement and the money making and the sustainability. So
That's crazy. I mean, again, as AJ said, and maybe you didn't hear it all the way in the back, but the way these referral commissions are being paid out is essentially because when you deposit ETH, that ETH is then going into their sister product, which is the DexFi Bonds, which is creating real money or real yield, which is then the real reason why it's able to pay you this real commission, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up, AJ, is because I want to stress over and over and over again, like, this is real money. This is not, being printed, tokens being printed out of thin air type of things. Because, I think, once people in this industry mature and understand that we got to move towards a real yield model, that, that's when things will start to get, for lack of a better term, real with people. Oh, AJ, did I lose you? Uh-oh, I might have lost AJ. Let's see here. Let's see if we can wait to get AJ back on. See where AJ went. I'm unsure. Hopefully his computer didn't die and he ran out of juice. That's always a possibility. But until he comes back, I'll continue I'll continue the video here. I'm super pumped for this because, again, something new coming into the game, something new coming into the EMP ecosystem. And for those of you that are watching this and you're involved in EMP Fusion and eShare and even the bonds, then you should be really excited about this. This is something that, even when I was doing my research before, and AJ gave me, has hinted on a little background about this Plasm protocol before, it didn't really kind of hit me until now about how much the bonds are involved in this protocol and really, what it's going to do. Buy and burn Plasm and eShare as well, and really, as we talked about before, stabilize the price and also raise it at the same time. Okay, I think if this all works out how we all believe it's going to, and how AJ believes it is, and he seems pretty damn confident, then we could see something very remarkable here that is really going to turn some heads.
Yeah, no doubt. 100%, Christian. Sorry, bro. I think I lost connection there for a while. But yeah, that was one of the last things I wanted to touch on. And again, bro, you're already 2 steps ahead. I love it. So the fact that this is really creating more TVL and yield through bonds as well, like it's a win-win no matter how you look at it. So not only are we're creating amazing opportunity within Plasm just all by itself. But now we have what I like to say is a 1+1 = 3 instead of a 1+1 = 2, because we're utilizing our entire ecosystem to have a multiplicity effect on the success. So yeah, it will absolutely benefit everybody involved, including bonds and DexFi and Fusion and Plasm as well. So
Super cool, yeah, and glad you got back online. I was a little concerned. I'm like, uh-oh, I'm gonna have to fly blind on this one and
yeah,
go over
yeah,
go over the dApp by myself. Um, what are all these things on the side here? What earn, burn, stats, buy Plasm? I'm
yep,
not sure if these are live. I'll click on it and see what happens. Maybe
yep,
nothing.
for sure. So yeah, some are going to be live, some won't be. But yeah, those are basically just the stats. So you can see here, earn will show, what we're earning. The bonds page will have or earn is actually where you create and stake. So that is where you can again actually mint Plasm or stake. Burn is the buy and burn. So this is what I was saying. This will show the overall position in bonds, how much is allocated to buy and burn and how much is allocated to buy and build. So again, we didn't even get into the nuance because we could be here for 2 hours, but there is actually technically two things with the buy and burn. It's buy and burn and buy and build. So buy and burn is essentially half of the economic energy is buying and burning the LP, which is Plazm eShare, and then buy and build adds to the LP. So not only are we buying and burning, but we're also adding to the liquidity of eShare and Plazm, so that to what you said again a little earlier is there is enough liquidity that people can actually cash out of the system. So this again is cool because the more liquidity we have, the steadier the.
Oh, I think your volume, your audio went out, AJ. Might be having some problems again. Oh, there you are.
Oh, is that better? Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh, all right. So yeah, buy and burn and buy and build. Buy and burn is buy and burn, like it says. Buy and build is adding to LP.
Gotcha. Cool. What else do we got
Yep.
here?
And then I think that one is so yeah, there you go. This will the total pool payout. So this is cool to show you, how much of the supply is out, how much plasma has been burnt, how much has been staked, what the supply in the LP is, just basically a bunch of different statistics about the protocol. and then that's where you can buy it. I think that's the Uniswap link. It'll show you. So again, if you want to actually stake instead of create, you can buy it right there. So
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Cool, 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 cool.
yeah.
So one thing after reading over the docs, one thing I think is really important is that there is once you create and then essentially you're staked in the pool for whatever length it is, there is the rewards basically from starting from day one start depreciating, right? Like or become less. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, so this is really cool. And again, it may take a few reads through the white paper to really get it. I mentioned it a few times, but and until you're a little more familiar, it's hard to kind of conceptualize. But yeah, so the share rate comes from one centralized pool, meaning whether you're creating or staking those Plasm shares, that is what determines the amount of supply that you get. So to your point, over time, there's less and less of the supply available, and therefore less you know, emissions of the supply over time, and that alone again helps deter big dumps when a lot of supply comes onto the market. And again, because it's creations and stakes come from the same pool, it's very sustainable because typically those were two separate pools, and it gets to a point where those that create early and large make the most out of the protocol. But with this situation, it's not the case. So you actually end up making could potentially have a larger share percentage from staking rather than creating if the token price goes low enough. So that again is really part of the protection in the protocol built in.
Now, I read somewhere that on the white paper that because when I saw that there was, being less rewards, throughout time, that I think in the white paper it said something about, 20 years from now, like the rewards will be so far less. So my question to that is, you know, let's say 5 years down the road from now, do you believe it's gonna still be beneficial, or maybe the better word is profitable, to enter the protocol at that time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that is again what is amplified by the buy and burn. So, I would say, if anything, if you're bullish on crypto, 5 years from now, the bond treasury that Plasm holds, with ETH being 30 grand per ETH, it could be incredibly expensive, for lack of a better word, to have Plasm. And so whether even if you're minting or staking 5 years from now, the price appreciation will have been so great that it's still profitable to do so. So yeah, the way that the economics are, it scales with the protocol itself. And even if we don't see $30,000, Ethereum, then there will be an equilibrium that is found through creating or staking, and then you just wait for the buy and burn to buy and burn and push the price of Plasm up until it is profitable to mint or stake again.
Interesting. This is going to be a very interesting and fun game to play, AJ. I can't wait for the official launch.
Yeah. Thanks, brother. No doubt, Christian. I'm really excited, man. Again, I wouldn't have done this if I wasn't fully confident in, the underlying economics. And yeah, I think, we get through the first 77 days and people will really see, how powerful the system is. And again, earning the whole time. So even if you never participated in anything else that we built previously, this is a standalone product now that anybody can can have fun with and hopefully earn. I mean, that's the whole point. We're creating protocols that are built on real yield that is the literally only economic model where everybody can win because you're not relying on solely new users coming into the protocol. So again, I'm really excited for that.
Perfect, man. I think that was like the perfect words to end on, AJ. Before we end, is there anything else that we didn't cover that you believe should be covered or in this video?
Yeah, bro. No, again, man, it's always a pleasure coming on with you. You really take the time to do your research and really do a deep dive before we even jump on. So I really appreciate that. And yeah, I think we did a great job covering everything. Obviously, when the dApp goes live, we'll do other follow-up tutorials. Make sure you go through the white paper on your own before we get ready. And yeah, depending on when this video is released, you should have plenty of time to still get prepared and know what to do. But the short answer is just follow those ROI estimates, and either create or stake, depending on what is a higher value, and let that buy and burn take over. So.
For sure. Why, by the way, why the number 77?
Yeah, bro. So again, I'm a numbers guy. The original protocol that we forked from was 88 until I thought, when I just do 77. And we did do it a little bit shorter so that we can have more cycles. So again, having 10 days shorter, we want people to profit and actually make money and then mint again. So the whole idea is that you can uh, speed it up. And I think we have at least 77 days of a bull run still. So we'll still celebrate at the end of 77 days.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
All right, AJ. Well, thanks for taking, your time out of your day and doing this video and reviewing Plasm with me because, there's going to be people that are a little confused or need a little tutorial, a little more words of wisdom
for
to
sure.
to get involved. So, I really appreciate that. Um,
Yeah, absolutely, brother. And we will. We'll continue to update them. Make sure you join our own AMAs on Thursdays. This will be under the EMP umbrella, so we'll always be doing that. And all the socials will be both for Plasm and EMP combined. So
For sure, and I'll put links underneath this video to the white paper and things of that nature. So, AJ, it's been very wonderful. Super appreciate you, brother, and I'm excited to do an update video on Plasm when we are fully launched and things are moving onward and upwards.
sounds great, brother. Thanks, Christian. All right, talk soon, my friend.
Bye.